Having a tough time deciding which bar you want? This one looks cool. So this one. What the? So does this one. They're all great. They all have different shapes. What do those shapes mean? Let's find out. Today, we're talking handlebars.
Oh yeah!
All right, you got a bike. You know you want to do something about your handlebars. It's where your hands spend most of the time on your bicycle. Today we're going to go over the different features of the handlebar, definitions, what they mean, and get you closer to choosing the right bar for you. So let's get started. First, we'll talk about the top section. Top section comes in four major parts. There's a round top section, which is pretty much just a circle. There's ergonomic, which if you look at a cutaway of this, it kind of looks like a diamond. There's a nice, robust, kind of semi-flat section up on top, but it's still rounded. So you get a little bit more comfort when sitting on the top section. There's what's known as ergo arrow, which is a little bit wider top section, not truly an arrow shape to it. A little bit fatter. Again, you get the benefits of an arrow bar as well as the benefits of an ergo bar. Then there's what's called arrow. Thin arrow shape. If you do a cutaway of this, it looks like a wing. So the idea is it's as arrow as possible. It's also a nice wide flat section. You can put your hands up here if you want. Most riders don't wrap that far onto these bars because they want just pure arrow benefits. So top sections. All right, so now we're going to talk about definitions, what they mean. First, sweep refers to the amount of distance or the angle this part of the bar bends away from the clamping area. So sweep is measured in degrees. In the case of these bars, you're looking at about 5 degrees of sweep. You'll also have sweep in flat bars. Again, it's talking about the angle at which the end of the bar comes away from where the stem clamps. We're going to segue into reach. Reach is the distance from the center of the clamp to the end of the bar where your hoods would sit. Reach is not necessarily determined by sweep. You can have the same reach bar from here to here with two different models, but have much different sweep for both. So that's reach is this measurement, sweep is the angle of this measurement. All right, next we're going to talk about flare. Flare is the amount of distance or the angle at which the bottom of the drop of the bar, this is the drop, comes away from this vertical line where your hoods would sit. Flare varies quite a bit. In this case, you're looking at about 24 degrees of flare. In this case, you're looking at maybe 1 degree of flare. Flare is beneficial in a few different ways. So you could have a bar that has significant drop. Drop is measured by the center of the initial bend to the center of this bottom section of the bar, otherwise known as the drop. So this is drop distance. You could have bars with the same amount of drop but different flare. This could relate to either forearm clearance or wanting a bar where you're in the drops and you want a bit more stability. It can also just mean greater variety of hand positions, so you aren't stuck in this kind of central plane fore and aft with your handlebar. You can move out a bit as you want. So now we're going to talk about what's called flare out. So This is one axis, as it were, of flare. Flare out refers to this portion of the bar. You can see it kind of sticks out a little bit. So this has a bit more flare out than, let's say, this bar, which has just about no flare out. It goes pretty vertical. Flare out is beneficial for ergonomics. So if you want a bar that's nice, straightforward, road racing, race applications, road riding, maybe it's just your preference ergonomically, you want something with very little flare out. If you want a bar that kind of mimics your hand position, like if I'm in the drops, my hands are going to kind of come out a little bit anyway. So something like a bar like this that has a bit more flare out might be up your alley. Now we're going to get into probably one of my more favorite subjects, bar shape. There's all kinds of different bar shapes. This has to do with the drop, right? You have something what's called the traditional bend. This is just the semicircle. It's what you see on most bars. A lot of pros ride this shape. I ride this shape. It's generally the shape that is most considered a classic bend bar. Then you have something what's called a compact bend. So you have a diminishing radius, right? A little bit more ergonomic, a little bit more smooth transition in the drop. Then you get something that we call an anatomical bend, and it has this kind of flat section. So if you're reaching straight forward from your seated position into the drop, it's just this nice kind of ergonomic shape that is supposed to mimic the anatomy of your hand. Now we get into something called the biobend. The biobend is supposed to support the metacarpal bones in your hand. So if you think of something like arch support in your shoes, it's like arch support for your hands. More of an off-road ergonomic feature. This is probably best for bike tours, something where you want to have a number of different hand positions and you want something pretty comfy in the drops. So now you know the definitions for all aspects of the handlebar, from the top to the drop to the flare. Next time you go shopping for handlebars, you can make an informed decision as to what bar is right for you, depending on your riding style and application for the handlebar. With that, good luck and happy riding.